Okay, now we're going to create a more precise drawing using our planes and our Loft tool. So the one that we're going to be working on right now is called Workplane's Demo, and we're going to basically be creating this shape here. So we have our orthographic views of this and an isometric view of it as well. So let's choose a drawing plane to get started on here. So I'm just going to choose the XZ plane. And now we're going to start out by shaping out the base level on this. So when I look at the base level here in the drawing, we can see that it's going to be 130 units long. We can see that our total width of the base is going to be 50, but we can see that it has the curved ends on this. So there's a few different ways that you could do this one. You could make two circles on the end, finding the center points, which when we look here, we can see that the center points between those circles from center to center is going to be 80 units. So you could find center points, connect those together. Inventor is a pretty neat tool called the slot tool. I really like this one. So I'm going to use that inside my 2D sketch. And again, we're in millimeters here. So I've got the slot tool queued up. Now there's a few different slots. The one that I'm going to use is slot center point. Okay, so I'm going to choose the origin as the center of our drawing, which is a good way to get started. And now I basically want to choose the two center points. So as we can see over here that it's 80 from center to center. Now we're working from the middle, so it's actually going to be 40 this way and 40 this way. So our length from center out is going to be 40 units. So we're going to type in 40 and enter. And now we're going to choose the width. Now you can see that the width here is diameter on this. It's edge to edge. So as we looked and saw over here that our width is going to be 50. So let's set that distance to 50. Okay, so we've got our base built here now. We're going to finish our sketch. And let's take a look and see how high we're going to be extruding this sketch. So we can see in this view right here that the thickness of this level is going straight up and it's going to be 5 units. So let's extrude that up 5 units high. So we're going to set that to 5. All right. Okay, next thing we're going to do is let's look at the next level that we're going to be building here. So when we look here, we can see that this sketch kind of tapers up. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to create a work plane at this height and then do the secondary level sketch here. So in order to connect two sketches with a loft, we're going to need a sketch on the base level, and then we're going to need a sketch on this level up here a little bit higher. So let's just go on to our existing face here, and let's redo the same sketch, the same slot, just so we have a sketch basically laid on top of it. So we were 40 units over and 50 units up. There we go. All right. We're going to finish that sketch, leave it there. And now we're going to create a second sketch. So to do that, we're going to need a work plane. So remember, we've already learned a bit about that. We want to go up to our command list over here. Next to origin, hit the plus sign. That drops down and gives us the views of all of our planes. And I start on the XZ plane. So I'm going to make that one visible. And we're going to go into planes and we're going to offset from a plane. So I'm going to select that work plane. Now, as we start going up, we want to know the height of the plane that we are creating. So we want to make a plane right on this level here. Now, remember, we're going from the bottom here up to here. So that's going to be 5 up to the top of our surface and then another 5 to get to the new surface that we're creating. So let's take that up a total of 10 millimeters. Okay, now on that new plane, let's go and start a sketch. And we're going to look and see what sizes we're dealing with. So it looks like this image is on the same center points, so we can use those same center points, but we're just going to make it a little bit of a different size. So when we look here, we're going to have 40 units across, and we should be able to get information on our length, and that looks like it is located. Oh, did I not dimension that? I might not have dimensioned that. Okay, I just paused the video there and added a dimension in here. So we can see that our length is 120. So we're going to do the same center points on this slot. We're going to go from center, out 40 each side. So let's do that same slot from the center. We're going to go out 40. And now we're going to make our size for our height is going to be, we're going to be 120 long, and our width we said was going to be 40. So if we go 40 as our size, now we should get our total distance there. That's going to be 40 plus 20 gives us 60, and the same thing going the other way. 40 plus 20 gives us 60, so we get 120 as our total width. Okay, now that we're done that, let's finish that sketch. And now let's blend these two together using our Loft tool. So let's click on Loft, click on our edge. Now you might have troubles clicking on this edge here. I would try just going to this kind of back edge right here, click on that, and that's going to loft those together. And now we have our surface to build on. Okay, now we've got a few shapes to build on top of this. So the first one is kind of this cone shape that's cut off at the top. So let's start by building that one. We can see here that we're going to need the top of this cone to be 12 units up from our base level that we have here. So I think a nice easy way to do that is just to create a plane. So let's go in and create a new plane, 12 units up. So we're going to go and offset plane. Let's click here and let's go up 12 units. Okay, we've got our plane right there. Right. Now that we have our plane created, let's look at the size of circle that we're going to need up the top here. So we can see that has a diameter of 20 and it's on the same center point we can see that we've drawn out here. So let's go in there and get our center point on this plane, and we'll draw a circle with our diameter of 20. So start a 2D sketch on that plane. Let's click on the construction layer line. Let's draw a line from our origin over 40 units. And that's going to be our location for our center point of our circle. We'll turn off our construction line. We're going to do a circle, choose our center point, and that's going to be 20 unit diameter, just like that. Finish our sketch. And we're going to have to go down to this plane as well and do a circular sketch to blend that together. So let's start a 2D sketch on that plane. And that one we'll want to use a construction layer line again just to get our center point from here over. So that'll be 40 units to center. And now turn the construction line off. Let's do our circle off that center point, and it's going to be 40 units. Just like that. Finish our sketch. And now we can loft those two together. So we'll click on Loft. Let's get our circle that we drew there, and that circle right there. Hit OK, and now we've lofted those planes together. Okay, I think we've got this area done. Let's now look at this this other shape that we have going here. So we can see at the base that it's going to be 20 by 20, and the location of that is going to be on center. So we can see here it's 20 to center on that, and we can see here that that's centered here, basically on that same center point of this curvature. So let's go on this plane right here, and we're going to draw that 20 by 20 rectangle. So start a 2D sketch on this plane. So we're on the middle plane right now. And we're going to go into rectangle. actually, before we do that, we should get our center point marked. Let's go construction line from the edge, 40 units. And now let's go in and do a rectangle. We're going to do a 2-point center rectangle. Oh, I've got construction lines on. Turn them off. Rectangle from center. And now we're going out. And that is going to be 20 by 20 on our base. So 20 tab 20. Okay. Finish that sketch. Now when we look at the top shape here, so we look up at this area up in here, we can see that is the same center point, but it's a little bit of a bigger rectangle. And we can see that that's a 25 by 25. And we want to know what height that is. Well, it looks like off our base here, it is 15 units up. Let's create a work plane that's 15 units up, and then we can draw that sketch and just loft those shapes together. So let's do a new work plane. Offset from here. We're going to pull that up, and that's going to come up, we said 15 units. All right, so it's just slightly higher than our secondary plane here. And if we want this work plane too, we can turn the visibility off on it if we're finding it's kind of getting in the way from that previous sketch that we did. And now let's go and start a 2D sketch on this plane. Construction line on, draw from the center. Let's go over our 40 units. And now we're going to do a 25 by 25 rectangle. So let's go from our center here. Oh, I'm still in a construction line. Turn that off. I do that all the time. Center, and then let's go 25, tab 25. Okay, finish our sketch. Let's now loft those two together and hit OK. All right, the only thing left to do here is to create this cylinder that runs all the way through our object. Now, if you were to normally just draw on this surface a circular shape and extrude it, it will extrude it on the angle of this surface. So when I say that, meaning that it will come out perpendicular to this surface. But if we look at this object, we can see that this is coming out straight across. It doesn't come out on any perpendicular angle. Otherwise, we'd see it on this side view here. So a nice thing that we can do is we can just create a plane down the center, a vertical plane, and use that to sketch from. So let's go and turn on our work planes. Now I can see that the YX plane is what is cutting my object in half lengthwise. So I'm going to turn the visibility of that on. Now we can simply start a 2D sketch on that work plane, and we want to find where the center of this circle is. So we can see that it is on that 80 center line, so 40 from center, and we can see here that it's 7 units up. Okay, so let's get a construction layer line, and we can get this intersection point here and go straight up. We're going up 7 units. Turn the construction layer line off, select circle, draw a circle here at 5 units. Now we can't see it right now, but it's inside our object. Now we can go inside here, and with this one, if we want, we can just extrude out. So we'll select our extrude. Now we're going to find that circle inside there. You kind of have to hover around till you get the edge of it. And when you choose the extrude button, rather than just choosing a single direction, you can choose symmetric. Now it won't let me bring my extrude palette on here, but it's the one that has arrows going out both directions. And now it allows us to go out both ways. Now we can look here and see what our total width is going to be. It's going to be 50. So I'm going to type in the total distance of 50 units. Enter. OK. And now we have our object completed. You can turn off your work planes and it looks beautiful.